Hey guys, welcome back. It's time for another video. In this video, we're going to look at some of the things that we don't really think about. We're going to look at very, very basic stuff. And don't confuse basic with easy or should already know. There's a lot of things that we get passed up on. We don't use it that much because we're used to using calculators and so on. But basic math is what really guides your intuition into these problems. So the title of today's lesson is Basic Math. And please, I'll say it again, don't let basic fool you into thinking easy or intuitive. A lot of the basics are very, very counterintuitive actually. So today, here's one of the few tricks I'm going to show you. We're going to look at multiplication. Now we start learning multiplication in about second or third grade, maybe sooner, maybe later. And if it's something that you never really picked up on, well, it's something that you really do need, okay? Without the number sense that comes from being able to multiply numbers quickly, there's a lot of stuff that gets in the way of your other higher problem solving. So, again, the best way to learn this stuff is by example. So we're going to work out a lot of examples, and I think at the end you'll see the gist of what I'm saying. Well, simple multiplication, such as 6 times 3. Those are the things that you learn in the third grade, let's say. We all know from recognition that 6 times 3 is 18. Okay, there's no thought that goes into that. It's something that we look up in this table in our brain, and it says, hey, you've got 3, you've got 6. When you multiply those, you get 18. That should be automatic at this point. And now, what we're going to look at today are a little more advanced multiplications, such as 366 times 11. Well, now at this point, I'm sure you're all going, whoa, back up, Chief. Can't do that in my head. And right now, you're probably right. You probably can do it in your head. No big deal, though. It's not something that you're asked to do on a daily basis. But let me show you a trick. And it's going to make this really easy. And you're going to say to yourself, why have I never learned this before? Well, what we're going to do, we're going to break this big number up, this 366. We're going to break it up into its hundreds, tens, and ones place. So our hundreds place, let me underline with red. Our tens place with green. And our ones place with yellow. Looks like a flag almost. And let's rewrite this as the sum of these numbers after we split them apart. And by that I mean, let me do my parentheses here. This 300, or the 3, really represents 300. Okay, plus, and again, we're trying to represent 366 by the sum of its digits. So 300 plus 60 plus 6. Again, I apologize for taking so long in this. It's switching colors that takes up the time. Whoops, didn't mean to write equals. Now, I think you would all agree that 366 and 300 plus 60 plus 6 are in fact both the same number. And if you disagree, well, they are the same number. And let's not forget that we're multiplying this by 11. Now, gosh, this is a lot more work than just multiplying out by paper, or by hand on paper, right? Well, initially, yes, I'll confess, it is a lot of work. But our end goal is to do this all in our head. So after we get good at this, we won't need paper. Now we're going to invoke something that maybe you don't learn until a little later. We are going to invoke the distributive property. Distributive property. Horrible at spelling, by the way. So now let's make a copy of this. And I realize I can copy this quickly. Sorry. Write it again. This 300 plus 60 plus 6 times 11. Well, if you remember back to algebra, your distributive property says, oops, doesn't say that. Your distributive property says if you've got a term in parentheses, such as we got here, and you're multiplying that by anything really, what you can do is distribute this number into each of these. So 11 times 300, 11 times 60, and 11 times 6, and then you can add them together. So it's kind of like saying the order doesn't really matter in this case. Well, when we do that, here's what we get. 300 times 11, and I'm abandoning our number scheme for a moment just to save a little bit of time, bandwidth. 300 times 11 plus 11 times 60 plus 6 times 11. Now, what has happened so far? Let's take a step back and look. We started out with 366 times 11. We said, okay, I want to be able to do this in my head. And a common way to do this is to split the numbers up into its places. So if we had another place here, it would be the thousands place, and we'd have some thousand number. But our largest number is 300, second largest number is 60, third largest is 6. So we wrote this 366 as the sum of those numbers and multiplied that by 11. And then we've used the distributive property to regroup. And now the beauty of this method is right here. Now, 11 times 300, you may be thinking, well gosh, that's still big. That didn't save me any work at all. But there's a trick. What's 3 times 11? Well, that is 33. And then all you have to do is add on your 2 zeros. Okay, not that bad, right? 6 times 11, well that's 66, I know that one. Then all I have to do is add this 0. And then 6 times 11, same thing, 66. So now I have 3 numbers that I can, well, somewhat easily add in my head. First thing, in my head I can do this one. 3,300 plus 660. Well, 3,300 and 600 is 3,900 plus 60. That will give me 3,960. 66 plus this, let's bring it down. One more step. Well, 3,960 and 66. That will give me 4,026. And that's the answer to 366 times 11. You can check it on your calculator. So now, let's try another one of these, and I'll try to skip all this explaining and just let you infer these steps. What if now we want to multiply 534 by, let's say 25. I think we'll all agree that's going to be a huge number, right? Huge number. And you're right, it is. Something that if you try to do it straight up in your head, it wouldn't work too well. Well, let's split this number up into its places. So 534 is really 500 plus 30 plus 4. And then we're multiplying by 25. Okay. Now, I'm going to distribute my 25 into all of these numbers. I'll have 25 times 500 plus 25 times 30 plus 25 times 4. And now, the beauty of this is we know all these, or at least we can multiply our front number by 25. Okay, so 25 times 5, that's, well, think of it in terms of money. 5 quarters will give you $1.25, or 125, and then add your 2 zeros. Plus 3 times 25, well, that's 75. Bring down your 0. 25 times 4, that is 100. Okay, so now I can add these up. Let's see, 12,500 plus 750. Well, 12,500 plus 700 is, let's see here, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13,200 plus 50. That'll give me 13,250 plus 100. And then I think we can all do that in our heads. Add the 100 to our numbers, and we'll get 13,350. Okay, so not too bad again, right? Let's see if we can do one solely in our heads. And I'm going to talk you through it. I'm not going to leave you alone on this one. Let's say we want to multiply 638 by 22. I'm not going to write it out, but I am going to talk my way through it. So I know that I need to split this up into 600 plus 30 plus 8 times 22, just like we did up here. Well, I know I'm going to then distribute my 22 onto all those numbers and then add the zeros. So first off, 6 times 22. Well, 6 times 20 is 120. 6 times 2 is 12. So that will give me 132 with 2 zeros. So 13,200. Okay. 22 times 30. Well, 22 times 3 is 66. Add a 0. That will give me 660. 22 times 8. Well, 20 times 8 is 160. 2 times 8 is 16. So that'll give me 176. And then all I need to do is add these together, and I'll have my answer. 13,200 plus 660, well, that will give me 13,860. 13,860 plus 176, well, 13,860 plus 100, 13,960. 13,960 plus 70, that'll give me what? 13,960 plus 7. 6 times 7 is 13. So 14,030 plus 6. My final answer, 14,036. Check it out and see how we did. If we're right, then I'll keep making videos. If not, I'll probably stop. So that's our lesson for today, and I'll probably put up another few videos on this stuff. Hard to do at first, but once you get fast at it, it'll be much easier than writing it down. Hope you enjoyed it. Check back for more videos later.